Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. To start this morning, I wanted to say thanks to everyone who came along to see me last night in Birmingham, and to Paul for organising it. Nice to meet you all. Thanks again. Lovely evening. Um, I just want to say a couple of things this morning about a topic that has been getting a lot of press lately, and that is anti-Semitism. And it's been in the press a lot recently because Labour seems to have a bit of a problem with it. Now, should surprise nobody at all, because, well, for several reasons. One, because the left has always had an issue with Jews. Largely, you would have to come up with your own reasons why, but in my view, largely because Jews are a minority that don't behave like victims. Generally successful economically. I mean, Israel is a huge scientific, economic, technological success. This one reason, but the other one is the size of the Jewish population in the UK. It's tiny. It's tiny. I was talking about 100,000 people, the majority of whom live in London, which, electorally speaking, Labour doesn't have to care about. Because it's got London pretty much sewn up as it is. So the electoral impact of anti-Semitism doesn't bother the Labour Party. But the final reason why why the Labour Party is so happy to pick on Jews at this time is, of course, because it is so keen on the Muslim vote. And Muslims are becoming more and more dominant in the Labour Party. We're taking new positions. We've got several local councillors, many of whom are embroiled in Sharia advocating, bullying people who dare to say anything negative about Islam. And they're becoming more and more dominant and prominent in the Labour Party. And of course, the Muslim population of the country is much, much bigger. We're into millions. So it's got to have an electoral impact, particularly in areas in the north of England, for example, where Muslims potentially, if not already, hold the balance of power in many seats. So this is the reason why Labour is fine with and is swimming in anti-Semitism. But it's a bad sign generally, and anti-Semitism is rising generally across Europe. And I think that's a bad sign. I think when these sort of old hatreds start to raise their heads again, it's not a good sign for the future. And I saw a shocking statistic recently, and I'll post this article. It was in the Gatestone Institute. I'll post this article beneath this video, which said that half of France's military and police numbers, it's half of its military and police are used to protect synagogues and Jewish schools across France. Such is the threat that Jews are facing in France, that tens of thousands, in 2015 alone, 10,000 Jews left France for Israel. And it's not only in France either. In Germany, and this one gives me chills, the synagogue in Wuppertal in Germany was burned down by the Nazis in the 1920s. And then in 2017, it was burned down again by Muslims. And they got not a single day's jail for it because the judge in the case deemed that this was a legitimate protest against Israel. Now, we have a situation where we have people marching through streets calling for the gassing of the Jews. This is not good sign for the near future. When things like this start to happen, you know things are about to break down and things are about to get very nasty. Now, people say it to me, and I get it. I'll probably get it after this video. It's the Jews. The argument seems to be that the Jews are behind the open borders and the multiculturalism. And it astonishes me. But yes, there are Jews who call for open borders and multiculturalism, but no more than anyone else. And what about the Pope? What about the Archbishop of Canterbury? Successive popes and successive archbishops of Canterbury asking and calling for open borders, and we need to embrace refugees and all the rest of it. In my experience, coming from the left, not the loony left, but the left, I was in Labour for years. In my experience, the people most vocal for open borders, for dismantling European and specifically British society, are not Jews, but white English. And I have never been able to figure out what it is about left-wing white English people who so want and are so desperate to dismantle this country. This picking on Jews is simply a sign that we're going into a new fascism, a new hatred, a new totalitarianism, with the left in alignment with Islam. And if I were a Jew, I would be, I mean, I am extremely worried, but I would be very, very worried about the future of Jews in Europe. And I would start, and I'm making an appeal to Jews in Britain and across Europe to wake up. To wake up. You'll still see prominent Jewish groups, Jewish media, still blaming all this on the far right. Now, the actual anti-Semitic far right is minuscule. Your real problem, Jews, is not coming from the far right, although I admit they're still there, they're powerless. The real problem and the real threat to Jews and to anyone else who is half decent and who wants to live in a free society is not coming from the far right. It is coming from the far left in alliance with Islam, Islam which is theologically commanded to hate Jews. We need to wake up to this. We need to wake up, and Jews in particular need to wake up. Stop supporting parties that hate you. Stop voting for Labour. Stop propping up a religion which in its own scriptures calls for your annihilation. See your enemy. Know who your enemy is. And it isn't me, and it isn't others who think like me. We are not this mythical, dangerous far right that you're told to worry about all the time. You're looking away from your real enemy and missing the real threat that you face. So I would welcome alert, open-minded, awoken Jews to come along to a party that will defend your rights and to defend you against this increasingly powerful religion, which poses an enormous threat to you. To finish today, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Morrissey, who gave For Britain a real boost over the last couple of days, and the press is all over it. And I can see, I wrote a brief thank you to him on my own website, annemariewaters.org. I can see what the press are doing. They're trying to make out that he's basically unhinged, picking little bits and pieces out and making it look like he's some sort of crazy guy. But as I said in my thank you to him, actually, it's the journalists who don't get it. Most of them are simply not intelligent enough to understand what we're talking about. And it's as simple as that. So thank you to Morrissey for giving us that boost. Okay, weekend, I'm going to be campaigning for the next few days. And I will drop an email to supporters tomorrow. I'm off out after just now, actually, doing some filming. I will drop an email to supporters tomorrow about where and when we are campaigning over the weekend. We're campaigning every day over the weekend. And I'll let you know where, and if you can give us a hand with that, we'd be really grateful. Slightly less busy next week. I am here all week, which is nice. So I'll catch up on a few things. My book is almost, I'll give it another couple of weeks, and I'll be plugging that at every chance I get. And I start the first of the weekly blogs that I mentioned. The first one will be posted tomorrow. And that is, I'm going to do a 10-week session of blogs about going into greater detail about our 10-point plan, for Britain's 10-point plan. Okay, that's it for me for the moment. I shall be back on Monday. And as I say, I'll be here all week. And if there are any topics you want me to give a few minutes to, please let me know. In fact, I've just reminded myself, there is one that a member has sent in, which I'll cover on Monday, which is, again, police inaction and police police incompetence in the face of obvious crime going on under their noses. Okay, that's it from me for this morning. Have a nice weekend. I see you back here at 11 o'clock on Monday. All right, take care until then.
We will make America great again.